Hey everybody, it's November 30th. It's Monday morning update, and I have a scripture for you today. It'll be found in 1 Samuel chapter 5, and then we have some announcements, and we'll go from that. And so, chapter 5, it's a kind of a slow read, so bear with me, but there is a message in it. Um, when the Philistines captured the Ark of God, and they brought it to one of their hometowns. I don't think I should probably read the scripture to you. There's a lot going on here. What has happened is the Israel went out to battle the Philistines and have been routed. And not only does the chief priest Eli die upon hearing the news, but his two sons, who were next in line, both died in battle, and just all kinds of bad things happen. It's a bad rout, and so it's about as dark as it can get. Samuel is going to step up into the leadership role, but Samuel has not stepped into that leadership role as judge yet. That's not till chapter 7. So, chapter 5 is the Philistines supposedly celebrating the capture of the ark, and then what actually happens. When the Philistines captured the ark of God, they brought it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. Then the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it into the house of Dagon and placed it by Dagon. That's an idol. Um, and when the people of Ashdod rose early the next day, there was Dagon fallen on the face of the ground before the ark of the Lord. So they took him and they put him back in his place. And then they rose the next morning, and there he was again. Dagon had fallen on his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord, and the head of Dagon and both his hands were lying cut off upon the threshold. Only the trunk of Dagon was left of him. This is why the priests of Dagon and all who entered the house of Dagon do not step on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod to this day. When they write that to this day, that means they're writing this quite a while after it actually happened, but it's something the tradition continues this day, the tradition, but that's why. Um, is that really the reason? I don't know, but that's what they say. The hand of the Lord was heavy upon the people of Ashdod, and he terrified them and struck them with tumors both in Ashdod and the territory. And when the inhabitants of Ashdod saw how things were, they said, the ark of God, the ark of the Lord of Israel must not remain with us, for his hand is heavy upon us and our God. Man, that's bad when your God is getting whooped. So they sent and gathered together all the lords of Philistine and said, what shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel? And the inhabitants of Gath replied, let the ark be moved on to us. And so they went to Gath, and same things happened there, bad things. And so they sent them to another town, and Ekron, I think, and Ekron, bad things started happening there. And so they kept getting trouble, and the last of the chapter says, the hand of God was very heavy, and those who did not die were stricken with tumors, and the cry of the city went up to heaven. And this is when the Philistines finally said, after 7 months, they said, let's get this thing out of here and back to Israel. It's too much for us, too much for us. So I bring this up because even in the darkest moment of Israel, we see the hand of the Lord, and we see God proving his sovereignty even in the darkest of moments. And what a powerful principle that is, even for us today, where we're in the midst of our darkness right now. We still have to see the hand of God and his sovereignty and what he is doing even in the midst of this bad stuff. So make no mistake about it. Israel was, well, for lack of a better word, destroyed by what had occurred here. The battle was pretty complete, and yet God was not defeated. The battle always belongs to the Lord. And so I want you to remember that as you're going through some fights and struggles today and this week, is that the battle belongs to God, and give your struggles to God. He cares for you, and he will fight them for you, and he will win. Period. All right. So, announcements. Our car parade is still on. It's Sunday, this Sunday, whatever day that is, at 5 p.m. Be out in the church parking lot if you want to be in the parade. If you want the parade to drive by your house, call the office so Barb can get you on the schedule, and then you'll be part of our driving. And so we don't know how many cars we'll have in the parade, but hopefully a few. And we'll try to light everybody up. I'm working on my car right now. And so hopefully we'll have a good time with that. We sure hope so. We'll honk and wave at you. And I don't know, can we sing a carol from the car? I don't know. We'll see. The Advent study I was telling you about, we are doing that online. So the first one is up. If you haven't seen it, go find it. And the second one will come up sometime this week, just like magic again, before Sunday. But if you want to look at it Sunday, that's fine. Christmas Eve, well, I tell you what, I'm tired of fighting this battle. But worship committee will meet next week, and we're going to decide what we need to do. And then we're just going to stick with it. And honestly, it'll probably be some type of online version. It's not fair to open up the sanctuary and the first 50 people that get in here get a set in the sanctuary, and then everybody else has to go to some outflowing region in order to listen to the service. You might as well stay home if we make you do that. And so I think we're leaning towards online. I hate to say it. The 10:30 service is online. That is the preferred option from your pastor. I'd prefer you stay home and watch online. I do understand some of you can't, and a lot of you just love being here. So the doors aren't locked. If you want to come in, you can be part of the service. And we don't turn anybody away. And as long as we stay under our Magic 50, which they say we need to be under, and so far we've been quite well. But that's because a lot of you are staying with the online option, and we appreciate that from you. The congregational meeting, which we're going to have here in a couple weeks, is going to be postponed. Maybe by January we'll be able to gather in slightly larger numbers and have a congregational meeting. It's really important, as you know, the administrative part of the church doesn't stop. We have new bylaws that we're looking at that I would really like for the congregation to vote on. But it's just not a good time to gather and try to have a congregational meeting. And so we'll try to look at, hopefully January, we can pull something off. We'll see how that goes. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And this is a more subdued meeting, Monday morning update, if you will. I just had to get, school is starting completely online. So in our house, you have Emma on one corner of the table with her in front of her screen. You have Rachel on the other end of the table, and she's on her screen, and they're staring at each other with death stares. So you have to put up a cardboard box so they don't look at each other, because heaven help if you look at each other. And Hunter has a cough, so he can't go to daycare. So Hunter's home too, and so Hunter wants to look at both screens, and that causes screaming and yelling also. And so, and Teresa's at school. She happily, with a big smile on her face this morning, went to school to go teach in the quiet. And so it's between Zach and Rachel and myself, and I took some time to get away from it so I could come give you this. And so I'm going to head back to the fight here real soon. I'll see who's winning. I'll give you an update some point. I'd put my money on Hunter. I just would. There's a lot of reasons for that, but just put your money on Hunter. And he's a fighter. So that's all I have, and we hope we can do the car parade. But we sure could use a few more cars. So sign up, call Shelley even, or the office, and we'll call Shelley. And then if you want us to drive by, boy, we want to drive by. So just let us know, okay? All right, God bless y'all. Real good. Have a great week.